We're now ready to go. Welcome everybody. I'm going to begin by asking Michelle to read the council blessing.
Thank you, Grant. I will read in English and I will also try some in Maori just to improve myself. Ia mato I whiri ana I ngā take kei mua a I o mato aro aro. I pono ano matou ka kaha tono ki te, whakapā o mahara hauai pānau haro e maho nei matou. As we deliberate on the issues before us, we trust that we will reflect positively on the communities we serve. Me kaka hoki matou katoa kia whia hua, kia toti, tō tika tā matou mahi, mate mau te tiro whakumau me te hiri. Let us all speak to be effective and just so that with courage, vision and energy, ka tia te arahi I roto I te kotahitanga me te aroha, we provide positive leadership in a spirit of harmony and compassion.
Thank you very much. We have one apology from Tama Porter, our youth representative. Are there any other apologies? Pardon me. And Kim is also apologising, who normally joins us on the internet, but she's not here as well. Right, so I would like to move that and I can move and second a motion to accept the apologies be accepted. All those in favour?
Aye.
You can move it, but you need a seconder.
Oh, it's not what it says here. Okay, I so move and you'll second it. Thank you, Councillor. All those in favour again? Aye, apologies accepted, thank you. We now come to the declarations of interest relating to items on the agenda. Are there any committee members who wish to declare an interest? Janet?
Yep, Jenny. Yep.
Jenny, have you always been Jenny? When did you change that? Jenny, I'm sorry. You wish to declare an interest. What item?
It's the Otaki Pottery Club.
The Otaki Pottery Club. Just 1 minute that. As chair, I declare an interest in 2 applications, so I'll be recusing myself for those. They're applications number 104 and number 105, which are really the last 2 applicants to be heard. Right. Do we need that to be moved and seconded, or can we just accept that? All right, thank you very much. Members' business. I now raise number 6, which is leave of absences. I invite any requests for a leave of absence. And matters of an urgent nature. I assume there are none. So that is done. We now come to the public speaking time. There are 17 applicants that have registered to speak. So we'll invite the first applicant, Louise Waterford. Are you here today? Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
If you push a little button on that funny thing and the red light comes on, you'll be able to talk through the microphone. It's the button on the right. That's it.
Kia ora, my name is Louise. Thank you for the invitation to come and speak. I'm sitting down today. I'm the manager for the Kapiti Women's Centre, and I'm speaking to you today regarding one of our funding application form for the Creative Community project that we run every year. I'll tell you a little bit about the Women's Centre first. The Women's Centre is located just by the, just next to the community centre there. We've been in operation since 1988. We are a space for women and children to come and be and just to access multiple services there. We run free counselling support for our women in the community. We have the programs that we run from creative communities to wellbeing projects, as well as we also hold the Women's Refuge contract for Kapiti Coast area. So we're a busy little hub there. There's about 48 women that work in our organisation, majority of them volunteers. Yeah, it's quite busy. One of the programs we run at the centre is the Creative Community, and we run it at an introductory level, creating a lot of opportunities for people to access arts, those who may not have the opportunity to do so. kept our price quite low for many, many years, and that's just to remove any financial barriers for a lot of the people in our community so they could actually experience some of the courses we run there. I do have a range of a couple of handouts to give out just to show you what's been done in the past.
Leave some time for questions, Louise. We
Okay.
already have your application, so we have a full understanding of what
Thank
the
you.
specific project is.
Okay. So this specific project, we're looking to run it next term 4 and term 1 of next year. Goddess in the Garden, that's on the top of your page there. We run that every year as a popular course that people access. And 3 other courses. A couple of them are new. We've not run those before, such as paint pouring course and wax weaving, which we have, flax weaving, not wax weaving, flax weaving, which we've run for many years at the centre.
Great. Are there any questions for Louise? Anybody? Councillor?
Do we have anybody online?
Yes,
Oh,
we're
we do.
online at the
Okay, in
moment.
that
It's a
case,
public meeting.
Okay. First of all, Louise, congratulations on the award
Thank
the other
you.
night. That's
Thank you.
fantastic. Yeah. Is there any thought given to having, because some of the stuff is brilliant that gets produced, any thought to having an exhibition of the works?
Not yet, but you planted the seed. I could take that back and speak to the tutors. Yeah,
Just a thought.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else for a question for Louise? Michelle?
Hi. Oh, I'm green. Am I going?
Yeah.
No, you're not going. You've got to be red.
I'm green for not. Here we
Green
go.
is not for go.
I did it. Very good. I just have a question. It's just a new question that's come to me from discussions with various community people yesterday. How do people actually know that they can come to you for these courses?
We advertise it on our Facebook as well as the newspapers, local radio, and our display and word of mouth as
And
well.
so they always full house?
Yep.
Brilliant. Well
Absolutely.
done. Well done. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Just wait. Oh, it's gone red. Louise, no, congratulations. You're doing a fantastic job there. Have you noticed a increase in numbers requiring your services with the refuge side over the last couple of years with the economy tightening up and 48 staff? I think that's increased. A Patsy question, how's the architecture gone? The extension, which we did about, 10 years ago now, you'll want another one soon. No, it's a growing organisation and you're doing a great job. And yeah, the art side of it is just looking at the creativity here, it's absolutely amazing, it's stunning. And yeah, it's really just a comment. Keep up the good work and just numbers generally. Your services are required on the coast and
Yeah.
they're increasing.
Each year, stats just keep going up. We seen an increase across. I've never seen a waiting list for counselling service in the 12 years I've been at the centres.
Okay.
We've got a huge waiting list.
So you're 12 years at the centre?
Yeah, I've
And-
been there at the centre.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've got 8 counsellors at the moment offering that service, and
8.
we have a huge waiting list.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. And a staff of what was it, 48?
48.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for that.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Patsy. A quick question, Louise, to finish. We face applications that are for double the amount we have to distribute. If we're not in a position to fully fund your application, how confident are you you'll still be able to go ahead with the project?
We'll take anything you could offer us, but if there's a shortfall, we'll try and fundraise
Right.
to make the difference.
So you're pretty confident it'll go ahead regardless.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming
Thank
in.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Now, the Old Taki Pottery Club. Yeah, which is that one's. Yep. Catherine Joyce Killaway. Hello, how are you? I'm well. The Old Taki Pottery Club. Pardon me?
Slightly derailed. My cat did a terrible thing just before I left. So sorry I was a little bit late coming in.
Your cat did a terrible thing. You haven't brought it with you, have you? I mean the cat. Yes. Okay. Okay, you're from the Pottery Club, and we've read your applications. So the purpose of this is for you to add anything that you think is important and to allow us to ask you questions. How does that sound? Oh, can I just
thank you.
suggest, everybody, that we give these back to Louise simply because they are of value and she can use them? Can we collect those back? Unless you wish to retain a copy, then that's fine. Sorry, sorry for that, Catherine. Where you go?
No, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, sorry, that's on now, isn't it?
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, of course, I've sat here before not so long ago with the festival application, and you will notice that this application is very similar to that one. And that is because we strongly believe this is a really great program. And it's something that we have done in the past, and it's been successful. But you want to know why, what I can tell you from the application. Well, my feeling is, I'm really sorry. I'm terribly nervous and too frail.
Well, I'm not, in my view, you should be nervous because we're a pretty formidable bunch here and unpredictable. So please feel free to be as nervous as you
Oh
wish.
my goodness, I could kill my cat.
Did you?
I thought I was prepared
Okay.
this time. Sorry.
That's all right.
Well, okay, so the reason the reason we believe this is such an important program is that it allows people to come to the festival and do something free. That's the important thing here, free, and dip their toes into something that might connect with them. And we all know, because you wouldn't be on this board if you didn't believe it, how art is so important for our health and well-being. And in these turbulent and quite money-strapped times, it's incredibly difficult for some people to be able to have experiences and things that they think they might be interested in. You know, it could be lace, it could be painting, it could be clay. We just happen to be in the business of clay. And so this opportunity to be able to step their toes into something and have a little play, see if they connect, then the bigger picture is that then we have an amazing facility, amazing classes and workshops that we offer that then they can come and be part of. Now, with those classes, we have Gold Card, we have community services, and we also have hardship grants. So there's, you know, if that is still an issue, there's still the possibility of people having further experiences in regard to clay. Now, last time you talked about the fact that we financially appear very stable, but I want to give some clarity around that. We are a healthy organisation, but we're only as healthy as the last thing we've done. And with everything that we do, it's absolutely imperative that it stands alone. Because if we start taking from another aspect of the club, it just continuously impacts. And, you know, that's not a good thing. Also, we bought a building 4 years ago, and I have to say that the development that has occurred over those 4 years to develop the facility that we have developed and the growth that's happened and the actual need of people wanting to participate in something that is tactile, that's personal, that they can create themselves, that they can lose themselves in from the rest of life, I think has enormous benefits in our community. And so the club has grown significantly in 4 years, but we purchased a building which was fairly cheap. However, the cost of bringing it up to standards is enormous. The funds that we've had to create has been enormous and a huge weight on all the volunteers. Plus, we don't own the land, so that's another consideration. Plus, COVID was huge for us, and I think most organisations realised after COVID, oh my gosh, we actually have to have a contingency, otherwise there's no reopening the doors after something like that.
Great. Well, you're
So-
a very passionate advocate, Catherine. Can I ask, I'm pressed for time. so
Oh, are you? Oh,
I'm going to
damn, I
ask,
didn't get to talk about Star. Can I just say quickly, Starglaze, we did have a Go program, and Kelly & Co sponsored that. It was one of the highlights. The vibe, the buzz was incredible. Kelly & Co are very excited. Since I put the application in, I've had a conversation with them, and for the shortfall, they may come on board.
Right.
They're really considering it.
great.
So
Yeah, they are very good. Yeah.
it's a potential that we can get funding to cover this program.
Right. Questions for Catherine?
Oh, thanks, Catherine. It's an education experience, and you throw a pot, don't you?
There's all sorts of things. Yes, there's hand building, throwing a pot, but you also get to have discussions with the artists that are presenting there. There's also artist talks. There's
Great.
a whole.
How many
variety of things.
people do you think will come in and experience this, and how many days will you run?
Well, generally
this
we
for?
get visitors of 5,000.
Wow.
But that's to the festival. Part of this project is we had lots of requests last year. Could we expand the Have a Go area? And last year we charged people. So that was a contention as well. So it was a desire, could we make it free so more people can participate in it?
Okay.
And can we make have marquees to shade people, water, seats so people can sit longer?
Oh, thanks, Catherine. Yeah.
But they're pretty packed. Everything.
How many
pretty
people would sort of have hands-on throwing a pot and doing that last year?
I think about the actual people doing, without the people watching them do, was about 125.
Wow, that's a lot of
Yeah,
people. And
yeah.
how many days did that go for?
So 4.
4 days, yeah.
I'm looking across at Jenny, which I should have.
4 or 5. Quite a long time.
Yeah,
It's a long time to run something like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good
yeah.
exposure and lots of people.
Yeah, and of course we get people from all over too.
Okay.
But it's really the community. It's the people in the
vibes.
community with the Have a Go that we're really wanting. Well, we want everybody to have a go, of course.
Okay.
But they're the
Oh,
keys.
thanks.
Other questions for Catherine? Michelle?
Hello, congratulations, fantastic application, really well put out.
Thank you.
You actually answered something I was going to ask you. If all failed and we can't help you, because it's the usual, not enough money for fantastic projects,
Yeah.
is there a business that could support you? And it sounds like there could be. That's not saying that I don't support you. I'm just curious.
Yeah. They
Because
won't support
in the arts,
whole,
I get it. We have to go knocking on doors. We have to go and ask for help and sponsorship.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that some people realise how important that actually is.
Yes, thank you. They won't fund the whole lot.
No.
But they said that they would consider the the shortfall depending on what the outcome is here, and then if that's not successful, of course I'll have to think of other options within that.
So
yeah.
if the usual, sorry, but it's true, if there was something like 40, 60% or in the middle, is that helpful?
Absolutely, anything's helpful. Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Councillor?
Thanks, Catherine. Just the scale of this is getting somewhere near major events. It's actually becoming quite a significant event for the Kapiti Coast, and so at some stage, I don't know if you have thought about how much further you might want to expand the project so that it does become eligible for major events funding, how much significance of growth. But I just want to make a very quick comment. I would encourage all applicants to do this. There is a value to voluntary hours, and you guys have listed them. And I think that's absolutely fantastic because people don't do that. This is a cost. This is a real cost that is being borne by somebody, and so to have that itemised, I thought was fantastic, and it shows how much value you're putting into it as well. Yeah. But anyway, just that major events thing and the potential for growth. Yeah.
Excellent. Catherine, I've only got one question.
Yeah.
It's clear for me, and I know the Pottery Club, it's a fantastic thing. But looking at your application, It's clear that the Have a Go program contributes to the health of the festival itself and may indeed bring more people. But in your application, you don't enter any income from the festival to help this program. So it's got a one-way traffic. If the festival, which is very, very well run, very profitable, were to assist its own components, then it would be self-funding, wouldn't it? Is that a weird way of looking at it?
No, because as I said, all the programs are independent and need to stand alone. So with drawing money from the festival into the Have a Go, that impacts on the outcome of the festival itself. And yes, I agree. It does. It gives enormous benefit to the festival. It really enlivens it and creates a buzz of its own. But the festival can't afford, like with this. So with this project, we're wanting to develop a actual program that we can produce, and everybody knows marketing is a crazy amount of money, but we think that by doing that is going to let people pick and choose when they can come, because they want to try a specific thing, and that's quite independent from what the festival is, which is the the exhibition itself.
Okay, thank you.
I just think the impact on the festival, and yes, the festival is profitable, but it is one of our really important financial,
It's an important leg of your stool, isn't it?
It's important in terms of what we do.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you very much.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. See you.
Just noting that Jenny didn't take part in that because that was the one that she declared an interest in. So, Jan Bolwell. You here, Jan? Yes, you are. There you are. It looks like an Otaki t-shirt to me.
It was given to me at the Te Martini Festival by a lovely wahine who said, "You've got to wear this."
They didn't give me one. I'm just down the road.
Hello.
Supping with the devil.
Yes.
So this is for you to give us any additional information and to us to ask you questions.
Kia ora koutou. My name is Jan Bolwell and I run Handstand Productions, which is a theatre company which has been going for the last couple of decades. We've done about 10 plays. All of them, I have to say, have been staged up here on the Kapiti Coast and various venues. And this is a new venture, which I'm just going to read because it's succinct and I won't waffle, if you don't mind. Supping with the Devil is a new solo theatre work, a creative collaboration with myself as writer-actor, Waikanai composer Jan Bolton, Paikakariki dramaturg Ralph McAllister, and Wellingtonians Annie Ruth as director and Helen Todd as light and set designer. Supping with the Devil tells the story of Leni Riefenstahl, one of the greatest filmmakers of the 20th century. However, she was also a friend of Adolf Hitler, and through his patronage made two famous and notorious films, Triumph of the Will, about the 1933 Nuremberg Nazi rally, and Olympia, a film about the 1936 Olympic Games. After World War II, she was ostracised in Germany and never made another film there. Throughout her long life, she lived to 103, she constantly attempted to cleanse her reputation. So our play is a psychological study about one artist who sold her soul, who lost her moral and ethical compass and paid the consequences. So why do a play in this day and age about an historical figure? Right-wing populists are on the rise again, propaganda and misinformation abound. Some democracies have shown their fragility. So we ask the question, what is the moral and ethical responsibility of the artist in this present-day environment? We're using Leni Riefenstahl's life and work as a vehicle to attempt to answer this question. We want to use the Sir John Trimmer Theatre at Te Reikura ki Kapiti to test out this new work, and then to chat to the audiences afterwards and get their feedback and further ideas for our play. I mean, we're very aware this is quite a contentious subject, but we don't want to shy away from it. And personally, I would say as an artist, I think we have a social responsibility to raise these sorts of tricky issues. And I think in today's volatile world, what this play will raise issues for our audiences, and hopefully we'll have some interesting discussions with them.
Great. Questions for Jan?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah, I had a question. I had a quick comment first. I think this is fantastic, I have to say.
Oh, thank you.
Brilliant collaboration. The question, I guess, is around the ticket price,
Yep.
which seems like an incredibly bargain price. Buy your tickets, people. So what was the thinking around that? Was it did you not think that, say, $35 or $40 or whatever would...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Look, I've always had this dilemma. You know, you want audiences to attend. You don't want the price to be a barrier. And so I've sort of struck a deal with Te Raukura to try and get them, and they have come to the party, to give us this theatre at a very reasonable rate so I don't have to charge the public a lot of money. You know, we're in tough times, as you all know. And artists, we have to be realistic about this too. And I know we could charge more, but I'm really reluctant to do it. And I'd rather that we cut our cloth in order that we can attract audiences into the theatre.
Great. Michelle?
Actually, you do say average ticket price of 27.
Yes.
So that, to me, would be a scale.
Yes, it is a scale. I mean, we've
That's not
got
my question.
full price. Yeah.
So I just want to understand it. Of course, I support you, Jan. I think what you're doing is brilliant, and I'm nothing to do with this, so I have no conflict of interest whatsoever. Is this kind of a workshop performance at this stage? When you
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is. And that's why we want to go into this small
Yeah,
theatre.
exactly.
So it's intimate and we have the audience around us. And it's a lovely little theatre at Te
Because
Raukura. We're so
I
lucky to have
absolutely
it.
value the idea of workshop performances.
Yeah.
That more of us are doing more and more.
Yeah.
Because I think to get feedback from the audience to improve our works, film have been doing it for years, but for some reason as theatre and music and opera, etc., we have to be perfect to start with, but we're not.
No,
So
I know.
I think you're doing a workshop is good.
Yeah, it's a good point, Michelle. I think it is a workshop
Do you do
performance.
an open rehearsal period at some point, maybe for the school kids?
Well,
or
I think
something?
we've got a good relationship with Kapiti College and Te Raukura, and I think given the historical nature of this subject, it would be great to bring the drama kids in at
Yeah, I
some
think
point
that too.
as we're working and have. I mean, they may know nothing about this. I don't know whether they study German 20th century history or not, but it would be wonderful to actually do that. It's a great idea that we could bring them in at some point and workshop with them actually around some of the ideas.
Jan, it is a very controversial subject. I remember reading that the purpose of art is to make comfortable people feel uneasy and uneasy people to feel comfortable, which I think you fit with that rather well. My question, because we can't fund everybody, is that if we weren't able to fully fund your application, would this production still proceed?
Not in this form. We wouldn't go into that theatre.
Right.
Because obviously the theatre has overheads. I mean, we wanted to go into that theatre because we could do the light and sound thing in a theatrical setting. So if we don't get funding for this, we would have to change our focus and probably do it in a more rudimentary way, maybe in a hall somewhere.
Okay. Thank you for coming in. Good. Oh, you got another question? Sorry.
Yeah.
So if you had to do it in a more rudimentary form, would that take away from the artistic power of the performance, or would it enhance it?
Well, it'd be a challenge. This is a good question. I don't.
Would it make it better?
Yeah, I mean, I guess our focus would change because we've got this amazing world-renowned lighting designer who I know is just dying to get stuck into this. Well, if we're in a hall, she can't realise some of that. I don't think musically, I mean, Jan's working on her composition and I could certainly do it on the text. So there'll be elements that we perhaps couldn't experiment with if we're not in a
The
theatrical
lighting's a
setting.
big part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Michelle, quickly.
Just quickly following up on oh, hello.
Sorry.
Green.
Sorry,
Hello.
yeah.
Because I know what you're talking about, 1,000%. But if the unthinkable happened and you couldn't be fully funded, could you reach out to another funding to top it up to that 2,400 you're seeking?
I'll certainly try.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
saying.
I mean, I do think it's a good point you've raised before with the previous people about seeking other means of funding and not always putting our hands out. But you know, I think I would say about that, it's production specific. You know, you look at what you're doing. I mean, when I did a show about Rachel Carson, I reached out to the environmental community. So with this, I'd have to think really, I mean, I could approach the Goethe Institute and say, would you like to sponsor us? And that's certainly an option. And I haven't explored it yet, but I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jen. Good. Excellent.
Thanks, everyone.
Right. Now, Hamish Campbell, I understand you have to be back at work. If Tony and Shona have no objection, can I take Hamish next? Thank you, Tony. Sorry about the delay. So we're going to go to Hamish Campbell with the Zeal Youth, which is 90. Thank you. Welcome, Hamish.
Good morning, everybody.
We're trying to give everybody 5 minutes. It's just about impossible, but
Yeah.
just anything to top up the information you've given us already, and then allow for questions.
I'll try to be really fast. I guess the only thing I'd have to add to the application is just to say that, but I guess a thank you to actually funding this program in the past. And I guess the reason that we've gone down this path again is because we felt that it was really successful. Each time that we've run these programs during the holidays, we've had great uptake with these sessions, and they have, from an outsider's view, as someone who doesn't dance, and as I look at these young people who are doing these sessions, they are gaining a great amount of confidence, really coming together as a group, watching them actually step into a space of impromptu almost performances in front of peers that they don't know. Yeah, it's really good, and I think builds a lot of resilience and self-confidence for these young people. So that's the reason behind applying for the funding, so that we can do this for them.
Great. Questions for Hamish? Anybody? Hold on. I'll just kick off with a comment. What I liked about your application was that I think your organisation speaks to these kids in a language they understand. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions, Michelle?
Yeah, I do actually. I was talking to some people yesterday. Please do not take this personally, because it was a surprise to me, who are in the community and don't know anything about Zeal, but they have young children. I was really quite surprised.
Yep.
I know about you because through here.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've also been at performances where you guys have been helping out with the sound and stage, so I get that. Are you aware that there's a whole branch of Whoopsie community that doesn't know about you? Because I didn't know that. Are you aware of that?
We are absolutely aware of that. Yeah.
What do you do to help that?
It's a very hard space to get your message across the entire breadth of our community. We do advertising on social media. We obviously our target audience is young people, so a lot of our advertising and things is targeted towards the people that we want to engage with us. And we find that probably the best form of communication is getting in front of those young people earlier. So we have focused a lot on going into primary schools in that year 8 space, so they know about us. So each year we might get in front of 600 to 800 year 8 students to tell them that we're there and we're available to them, and to come and see us.
Yeah. And this is not a criticism, because I did this yesterday, and I was just thinking, so I was talking to people who are parents of young people who did not know anything about it, which shocks me. But hey, so is there, I know everyone seems to do social media, but is there an alternative way to get your message out even further? I don't know. I mean, newsletters, I think going to schools is perfect.
Yeah.
Do you do more public performances? I don't know, but I just was surprised.
Yeah, no, it's not a surprise to me, because there's always people who miss the messaging, and we've got good connections, I think, into different areas of pockets of communities within our community that have young people that aren't necessarily engaged in schools as well, like homeschool networks and things like that.
Great. Okay. And other questions for Hamish?
Yep, I do.
Jenny?
I see you have no income from this.
Yes.
Is it possible, I mean, I know things are hard at the moment, but is it possible to charge a fee for some of these workshops?
Absolutely it's possible.
Yeah.
Do I want to? no. And the reason for that is because I'm a parent of 3 young children, and I know how much money we spend on their activities. And when I think about that, I think about there must be a lot of parents who just throw their hands up in the air and go,
Totally.
I can't take my kid to that. So the reason for making this free is to remove as many barriers as possible to the opportunity. I mean, we can't guarantee that, people that come can't afford it, but I would hate for a young person to miss out because we put a price on it.
Or a cover.
Yeah, I mean, that is another option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other questions? You have one, Councillor?
Yeah, given the demographic, I like the idea that it's free as well. The in terms of project costs, the one that struck me a wee bit was venue cost. So it's $360, but it's your venue, right?
It is our venue, absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, we have seen this before where people have put down a project cost and it's their own venue, so it's not really a cost because the venue's there anyway. So I did wonder about that and that being an actual cost.
Yeah. I guess my pushback on that is that the building costs us a lot of money. I mean, obviously, we're funded by some very generous people, including KCDC, and it is definitely a big part of the costs of running Zeal. So that's why in every application that we put in for funding, there is a venue cost attached to that. Yeah.
Hamish,
if you got Ray Gun being one of the tutors, you could probably have it at the town hall and fill it up.
Hamish, we've got a lot of applications. If we can't fully fund you, are you in a position to go ahead anyway?
Actually, luckily, this time round we probably are, because we've got a young person who has done dance tutoring for us in the past.
Right.
They've been in Australia and now they're back, or they're coming back during the holidays and have offered their services for us. But yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
This
for
time that works, but in the future it may not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in.
That's right. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Cheers, everybody.
Shona, are you here today? She was intending to come, wasn't she? No? She hasn't arrived? Okay. Tony, are you there? Yes. Thank you for waiting. Okay. Yeah, I know. They did a bloody good job. Yeah. It's a lot of money, though, isn't it? Tony Fuel, welcome.
Hello, good morning, everybody. I sit here on behalf of Mary Gow, who apologises for not being able to be here. She's currently in Europe. We represent the Mulled Wine Concerts. We've been running classical music concerts on the Kapiti Coast since 2006, about 18 years now. And we are seeking finance for 2 concerts for next year. You have the details, I guess. Yep. So.
Yes. No, we know you. We love you.
Indeed.
Marvellous concerts at Paikakariki. So, any questions for Tony on the? This is Roger Fox.
The Roger Fox and
rebirthed or
Bridget Douglas was
yeah,
the other one. Yeah.
fantastic. Any
There's
questions?
two
for
concerts
Tony?
this time.
No one's asking you questions.
No one's asking a
This
question. No,
points to the.
Well, before
I've got one.
if I could,
I understand that you have to. They're great. I've been to them. They're great. So no question. But the thing that kind of got me a little bit. This is now September, and you're projecting ahead for July of next year.
yeah.
Is that?
Well, we try.
I just questioned it, sorry.
It's a concert series,
Yeah.
and so we're looking in a normal year, when we used to have normal years.
Yeah, exactly.
We ran 6 concerts a year.
Right.
Next year we are thinking we're running what we can. We have we have these 2 now down more or less. We have dates for them. We have bookings for them. We have agreements with the artists. We have 1 or 2 more which are currently a little bit fluid, and we look at the season, if you like, as a whole in terms of financing and deciding whether to go ahead with any particular thing.
I kind of understand exactly what you said. I was wondering again, this question was asked of another, was ticket prices. You're quite, no, 35 is reasonable, that's realistic.
Yeah, we're,
isn't it?
we're trying to
Yep.
keep it as
Yep,
as low
that's
as
realistic. No, it's realistic,
Yeah, yeah.
given what talent you've got coming out.
Yeah, and also the fact, of course, if you can go and see these people playing at the Michael Fowler Centre in Wellington, but you'll be paying a whole lot more than $35 for it.
Tony, we ask all applicants this because we don't have enough money to fund everybody. If we weren't able to fully fund you, could you still proceed with these concerts?
With these particular concerts, yes.
Right.
Although I'd have to say that we look at it, the season, as I said, as a whole. So we would certainly run these concerts, but we may not be able to do something else.
Okay. Right.
Can I ask?
Jenny.
Yeah. Do you do any other fundraising to support these events?
We have done, yes.
Yeah.
We have over the years received sponsorship from many commercial organisations, companies, and Tuatara breweries and various other things. The local estate agents have been very generous. Unfortunately, of course, almost every body's looking for sponsorship these days is finding it very, very difficult. The businesses are having a hard time.
Everyone's stretched.
Yeah,
yes.
and it's becoming more and more difficult. We try.
Yeah.
We will go and approach the people who've been generous to us in the past.
Cool.
But last year and this year, it's proving a little more difficult.
Yes. Yeah. Understandably. Thank you.
Okay, I know we're pressed for time. If any committee members feel I haven't picked up on a question, please just jump in.
Yeah, I just have one quick question. Given the quality of the musicians that you get, has there any thought been given to taking it to a bigger venue, to a broader audience?
Yes, we like to keep the Paikakariki focus because we started there and we live there, and so that's where our focus is. We have tried in the past. In fact, one of the things that Mary does is that she gives the artists one concert on the Kapiti Coast, and then hopefully takes them to other concerts in other regions, so that they can spend a weekend doing concerts in different places. In terms of larger venues, it's been our experience that there is a certain size of concert audience in Kapiti, which is between 100 and 250 people. And if you go much larger than that, then you're spending money on venues which you will not get a return on.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Tony, for coming in.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, has Shona arrived yet? No? Okay, well, if she's not here, we won't take her yet. So I can ask Anja, is that the correct pronunciation? Anya. Sorry, Anya. Anya Wilhelma, who'll come and talk to us.
Well, actually, everything's in the application. I would like to offer some art classes for people with disabilities, and depending on how much funding we would get, ideally be great to do it for 3 months and then have something like a Christmas exhibition, or maybe early year exhibition if Christmas is too busy. Yeah.
Great. Does anybody have any questions for Anya?
Yep. I have to declare some bias because I'm a huge fan of Anya and the work that she's doing around Waikanae with murals, etc. Where's the what's your proposed venue?
The Kapiti Impact Hub in Paraparaumu.
Yeah.
The Kapiti Impact Hub. It's where they hold first aid. Yeah, just over the tracks. Yeah. There's already a group of people that are there anyway once a week. They just don't have an art teacher, not really any guidance, so they they come in there once a week and they can basically do whatever they want, which is really impressive, like what they're doing. And I did one art class with them, and they really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed it, but they couldn't keep going because there's no funding. So it'd be great to really work with them and actually, shine a light on them, maybe.
You've said in your application you focus on physical, mental, and emotional clients, people who will join you.
Yeah.
How do you locate them? How do you find those people?
So my partner is a psychotherapist.
Right.
So sometimes he has people that he could refer. So he refers them to my yoga classes or to my drawing classes.
Yeah.
So he could refer them to a group of people that already exists and create connection that way. And from a money perspective, it would be easier if they don't have to pay for it as well.
Right. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Breathe and draw.
Yeah.
Talk to me quickly about breathe and draw.
So I teach yoga, and I love art, so I like to combine it. And yoga is basically it's not just the physical aspect, it's more about doing things really mindful.
Yeah.
So, with the breathe and draw classes, you move with your breath. So you inhale, you draw up, you exhale, you draw down, and it's really calming and relaxing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. You should come sometime.
If we can't fully fund you, Anya, would you be able to go ahead as well? If we can't manage all the money?
It depends how much the group could afford that already exists, or I could cut the hours shorter. So instead of doing it 3 months once a week, I could do it once a month for 2 hours. So we would just structure it a bit differently,
Right, so you'd
and
scale
spend less
down
on
to-
material and maybe not as big of an exhibition or the venue for the exhibition. So there are ways around it. But
Anya, have you approached any art stores for the materials?
no, not yet.
Yeah, other funding options
Great.
might be helpful for you.
Yeah.
Congratulations, though.
Yeah,
Young
thank
applicant, so well done.
you. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Thank you for your commitment.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for
Any
your
other
time.
questions?
Yeah, I actually had the same question about exactly that, is
Funding.
about approaching people for help, and hard costs is the warehouses. That I mean, I think your desired things here. There's nothing wrong with that at all, but as someone who's done a hell of a lot of knocking on doors to get help, I do know that it can happen. And if you write proposals, if you like what you've just done here, or you ring them up, you ask to speak to the manager, and then say, I'll put it in writing to you, it can just help. And my only other question is, do the actual applicants not pay anything? I didn't quite understand that in your application, no disrespect. It says detailed examples, tickets at 15, but then there was no income. So I didn't understand that.
Yeah, I have. So the exhibition itself, I haven't really I'm not quite sure if we should even do tickets for it or not, or if it's more of a cohort kind of donation basis.
Either is fine.
So it's more, the focus is more on the art classes and doing the art with them than the actual exhibition itself.
I did an art class last year with someone who was also in here, which was very similar, yoga, breathing, and with music and la-di-da, and then we drew. So I think what you're up to is fantastic. It's different, but it's same but different. So I do like what you're doing, but I would seriously think about, let's look at some of your materials. Just because of what he said, there's not a lot of money for everybody, and if there's a way that you can cut your costs a little bit to help your project, it does help. Just knock on doors. Just knock on them. Just go down to the Mitre 10 and say, can I have 3 paintbrushes, please? Can I have 2 paintbrushes from here? It does help.
Yeah.
Okay, a very quick question about numbers. You had 20 to 2,000 down as numbers of viewing. Is that correct in your application?
It really depends on the venue, and if it's because there's also visual exhibitions that you could do.
Okay.
So that's where the 2,000 came in.
Right. Okay.
So
2,000 people may see the work.
Yeah, or you could do a video about the exhibition and then put it online.
Yeah. Okay. All right, if there's no more questions, thank you very much for coming in, Anya.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Good. Debbie Donnelly, are you in the room? Debbie? Welcome, we know you.
Morena.
So this is an opportunity for you to add to the information in your application and to allow us to ask some questions.
Kia ora tātou. My name's Debbie Donnelly. I am an arts educator, artist and curator who lives locally. Thank you very much. Last year I was able to start Sashiko and Bodo workshops at Parurua Library, and from that it was a very rewarding experience to bring together like-minded people from a range of demographics, and it led me the following week. I went back to Japan and met a Japanese artist called Yukihito Kanai, who makes cultural heritage textiles using natural dyes. So he was absolutely who I wanted to talk to. I mentioned this to Janet Bailey on my return, and we are organising an exhibition at Toimahara starting February for 3 months next year. Therefore, I thought what a wonderful opportunity it would be to bring him over and share his knowledge with the local community in workshops that we would ideally like to present, depending on funding, at Ngā Manu Reserve in the facility room, and I've spoken to the trustees. I also ran indigo workshops on the back of the workshops at the Paraparaumu Library. I ran them at Tutiri Gallery February of this year over Waitangi weekend, and got a lot of interest. So I've been able to glean interest and feedback. So I have decided to write this proposal and ask for help. Everything else I think should be in the application.
Great.
I've given 2 venues because one is quite expensive.
Yes.
And therefore I felt I needed to have a plan B.
Yep.
So there's plan B on just about everything, by the way.
Okay. Billy Connolly said you need a plan B, especially if you don't have a plan A. Any questions for Deb? Sorry, Sonia.
Not a question so much as a suggestion, but for the Waikanai Community Centre, that's at $306. That would, an application to the Waikanai Community Board would probably take care of that. Just
Thank you.
Any questions? I have a question, Deb. I've read through your application a few times because when I first read it, I saw 2 main partners, Ngā Manu and Toimahara, and I thought that's great. 2 important pieces of arts infrastructure helping you with this project. But then you read a bit further in, and you're actually carrying them. They're not helping you financially. You're paying for the accommodation and the use of Ngā Manu, and you're giving Toimahara 3 months of product for nothing. So who's sponsoring who? I think you're doing a fantastic job, but I'm very disappointed that you're not helping you do this thing. Are you happy to respond to that?
I have thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to wait till after this meeting before meeting with... I've obviously met with Ngā Manu and Toimahara. I haven't gone any further into my thinking that this needs to be a reciprocal arrangement of some sort, and I welcome any suggestions about that. I've spoken to the Māori curator, Kohai Grace, and she's particularly interested and can see a lot of value and merit in sharing. Yes, I hear you. Yeah.
Michelle?
I'm sure you heard it before. It's true. Not enough money for everyone, you know. But if you had partial, reasonable funding, could it still help you go forward, given that Grant's giving you a sensible suggestion? If you didn't get full funding, could you still move forward? Which, by the way, I think the project's amazing.
Thank you very much. Obviously, I hope it will pay its way, and depending
Yeah.
on with what the outcome is, then we would obviously mark it. I've already started I'm doing an exhibition in Wellington during Wow Week, and hoping to raise the profile of it as well. So again, depending on the outcome of this, I will obviously press go.
So would you consider going to the Japanese embassy or something like that? And
Yukihito's actually mentioned that because he's already asked questions
because
as well.
sometimes those cultural exchanges are really supportive, and particularly with what you're doing, and can actually help top it up.
I would probably approach Japan Embassy anyway for some help with setting up of installation of the exhibition at Tuamahara. Yeah, with equipment at least.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Will any of the work be for sale?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So this is Yukihito's question to me, is this possible to sell outside of the exhibition? By the way, I just want to point out that Tuamahara have offered this space to Yukihito free.
Oh.
So that is big. That is huge. So for any overseas artists, their expectation would have been that they would have had to pay for that floor space. So I do think that is a major contribution.
Can I say too, your application was pretty amazing to read. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was well
I
done.
feel it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's really.
yeah.
Well, Deb, if you're happy with Toimahara's contribution, my suggestion, and you did a moment ago saying if we have any suggestions, you'd welcome them, is to go back to Mr. Wood at Namanu, or even ring Pat Stewart, their chair, and say, is Namanu prepared to help me with this? Okay. Mm.
Yep.
Any other points or questions? All right.
Are they free samples?
They are samples, prototypes, and some of these are
Deb, we do have to ask, because we're asking everybody, if we're not able to fully fund your application, will you still be able to go ahead with this project?
Yes, I will be going ahead with this project.
Right.
I'll
Okay.
find some fundraising.
You'll find a way.
I'll find a way.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
We have to return them. We have to pass them around.
Is Ingrid Prosser in the room? Yes. Great. Sorry about the delay, everybody. I have no excuse. This happens every year. We try to give everybody a fair hearing. Sorry? The weather. We try to give them fair weather as well. Yeah. Ingrid, welcome.
Thank you. I must admit, when I thought of you listening to all this information, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, I was thinking, oh my goodness, you'll feel so blasted with the information. So it's nice that there's a little bit more space involved. Yes, so thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. And as the subject matter of my application is a radio program, I wonder whether you might consider closing your eyes for some of the next 3 minutes. My name is Ingrid Prosser. I'm a performance poet, singer, and singing teacher, and I'm here today with my performance poet hat on. When I was interviewed by Coast Access Radio for their Focus on Arts program earlier this year, it lit a fire of enthusiasm within me for sharing poetry via the airwaves. So we've dreamed up a new radio program focusing on poetry, and specifically that of our local Kapiti poets. Each episode will focus on one or more local poets. We envisage that they will range from highly accomplished and published poets right across the spectrum to promising beginners, including students. We aim to be aspirational and inspirational. Quality will be important. We want to know things like what makes a poet tick, what makes all sorts of poets tick, because everyone is different. So many of us write poetry. I want to discover why it's so important to us, and I want to give poets an opportunity to uncover more about themselves. Last year on National Poetry Day, I spent the afternoon visiting shops and businesses in and around coastlands and reciting short poems to anyone who would listen. I was hugely encouraged by the positivity I encountered. One lady said to me that it should be National Poetry Day every day. Someone else said that I'd made her day. Some poets are private writers and don't desire to share their work with anyone. But many others are very desirous of sharing, and there are not actually many opportunities for them to do so. I've been discussing the proposed radio program and podcast with a mixture of local published, self-published, and wanting to be published poets who are keen to take part. I look forward to creating a particular supportive atmosphere in my discussions with poets. I hope that this will invite the listening audience into an intimate and expressive exchange that will deepen understanding and encourage new writing and bring forward poets who want to start reaching out. My requested fee is a small one per episode. It will allow me to devote some quality time to this project and to begin to curate a crafted community of quality work, which could perhaps lead to, well, something as interesting and important as the visual arts in this region. I'd like to finish with a little poem of mine. It's in the Japanese tanka form. I lie in my bed and look at the shining moon high up above me, and a ruru makes its cry, hunting in the moonlit night. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Questions?
Yep. I have to declare a prejudice here in favour of poetry and Coast Access Radio, both of which is fantastic. What's the timing for this? When are you anticipating?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can start fairly well straight away in terms of getting poets on board. As I said, I've been speaking to a number of people who are already lined up. And in my discussions with Coast Access Radio, the idea is to start interviewing in October and to start broadcasting in November. And so we were envisaging a start of 12 episodes and to be broadcast from November through, well, we were sort of looking at a 6-month period. I think we set up till May just to, give a bit of leeway in the system. And I'm not sure what the plan would be for over the Christmas period. So
And would that be a half-hour show?
half hour.
Yeah, half-hour show. Oh, all power to you. I think it's brilliant. Yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions? Michelle?
I actually have to second exactly what you said, Councillor, and I completely am biased towards it as well. So, and congratulations. I know we've worked together sort of
Yes.
briefly, so
Yes,
from afar, so
that's
there's
right.
no conflict here.
Yeah.
But how do people actually put poetry towards you? How are you going to organise that? How are you going to get that out there for anyone who wants to try and be part of your project?
Yes. Well, I hope that this would be something that would be successful and then could go on even further into the future.
Absolutely.
So not just 12.
For Jimmy
But
and Johnny
initially-
down the road who desperately want to be part of it, how did Jimmy and Johnny and Janie get to be part of it?
Yes. Well, the thing would be to start with the poets that we already know about,
Yep.
and to be, if people are listening. So you're wondering whether people would even know about the radio program.
Correct.
Yes, and how many people know about Access Radio? Yes. I spent a long time in the UK and came back to New Zealand in recent years. I didn't know anything about Access Radio, so I'm not quite sure how people who have been living in New Zealand for years and years, does everybody know about Access Radio
No.
or not?
No.
No.
Not at
no.
all. And a lot don't.
Yes. So that's something to have more of a discussion with Nikki Carroll, that's Access Radio, and also I can immediately think about things like putting up flyers, outside Paper Plus, for instance, and because lots of people see that there are other places where one can put flyers at very cheap cost, and
also hammer on the local newspapers, hammer on them all, just say, look, this is what I want to do, just get a profile in the
Yes.
local papers.
Yes, well, interestingly, I contacted the Kapiti News at the beginning of this year, and I don't know whether you noticed, but for 8 weeks we had Poet of the Week, or
I
Poem
did.
of the Week. Yes, well, that was my
Well done.
initiative. And
Keep it
David
up.
Haxton was very keen to support that, which was great. Unfortunately, there was one thing. It's really interesting. Poets, it's very important to poets how your poem is presented.
Yep.
And unfortunately, despite my feeding back that no poet likes to have their lines infelicitously wrapped around so that they don't quite make sense to the reader,
No, that's right,
he wouldn't do anything about it except in one case where one poet got their lines fully stretched out. So there were a number of poets that I knew about who didn't want to submit their poem because they didn't want it to be all squashed up. Yes.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Ingrid? Jenny?
Just asking about other radio stations. Is it
Yeah.
possible to get it onto, say, national radio or
Yeah.
outside this area?
Yes, so there are 12 access radio stations in the country. And so I understand that that programs are offered to the other stations.
Okay.
Yes, and I have to say that I'm very, well, I was brought up, my father was a broadcaster on radio. He did some of the early New Zealand radio drama, and he did a children's program at one point. And we didn't have television until I was 13, so it was all radio.
Yeah.
And so I've had radio in the back of my mind for years, and it's just sort of come to the fore this year. And I'm not terribly good at blowing my own trumpet, but people seem to like my voice. People seem to really enjoy the interview that I did with Coast Access Radio at the beginning of this year. And I feel completely fired up, and I think I should be on RNZ, definitely.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I like poets. Poets distill. I wish people on social media would take on that message. What I liked about your application, Ingrid, was its careful sequence. You start with an existing event, you recruit poets, you got a radio station on board for tech and broadcast, then you go to podcast. You've considered listeners, especially older people, then you want to involve schools, and lastly, some kind of have a go yourself, which to me is a powerful development sequence.
Thank you.
What I have to ask you, because we can't fund everybody, is that if we can't fully fund you, will you be able to go ahead?
Well, I think Coast Access Radio are pretty used to doing programs with insufficient funding. And I think they make a choice to do what they can. So we want to do it anyway. The choice for me is this something that I can throw myself into? I've sort of charted a middle course. It's something that I can do anyway, but it will have to fit in with other things that have to be more important because I have to earn some money from somewhere as a creative person. And there's a real I like the energy when you get involved with a project, and it may not have enough funding really in terms of what a really good recompense for what you're doing. But if there's something, and you can feel that an energy flows, doesn't it? When and the project really flows, and you can put your energy into it and create something. I want to create something that's of really good quality, and as a creative person for many, many years since I left work in the travel industry decades ago, I am used to working on a shoestring, but there's a difference between having a chunk of support and having no support. So yes, we want to do the program anyway, but it will be, without some funding, it will be a much more sort of scrappy affair.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Just as a thought, your wish to get to be on Radio New Zealand, do you know Mark Avery in Paikokariki?
No.
Make a note of that name. He's a local, and it could be your doorway into Radio New Zealand.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for
Just
coming.
one last question.
One
if that's
quick,
all right.
yep.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's just the next step or phase or whatever. Have you considered? So you're starting to get this body of work.
Yeah.
So I know that your focus at the moment is radio. Yay, voice and words on the radio. Yay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yay. Have you also? Are you thinking of piggybacking onto like a publisher that could take the next step with this and create a whole new
Yes.
series? It just came to me.
Right.
Why not?
Yeah.
you're starting a journal of work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that way, more and more,
That's a very good idea. Yes, I mean, the idea, I have lots of ideas in my mind in terms of, that they're a little bit, they're not sort of fully formed yet, but I can see that it can open the door to.
I would knock on some publishers just in case. Go look at who the poetry publishers are, because there's some good ones. And we've got one here in the library. Once a year we have our own library that anyone can be part of that book. I've missed out the last 2 times because I was too damn busy.
Okay.
But they're good. Anyway, lovely.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Shona, you've arrived.
The good news is that New Zealand Symphony Orchestra Brass is coming to Kapiti
Yay.
in
Well
December
done.
next year, which I have just secured. But on to my proposal. So you all have it in front of you, I take it?
Yes.
I was astounded at how wonderful our production was last year of Romeo and Juliet. It was not only, I think, artistically one of the best productions, if I must say so myself, I have ever seen of Romeo and Juliet, but
Boo, yes.
but it was so inspiring to see our community come in and get in behind it. And, that we had our fight masters with the Royal New Zealand Ballet Fight Masters. We had an intimacy coach come in and deal with it, set out really clear guidelines for everybody. That they don't even need to, it's not just about using it in our play. It's about everyone was like, I'm going to take this into my life forever, because it's, about setting boundaries and about the community is still getting together, and we feel like we have a theatre company. The people who were thinking about leaving the village have decided to stay because they were part of this production.
Yeah.
It was just so amazing and wonderful. And in the end, we had we sold around over 400 tickets, but we had probably over 500 people who came. But it was just such an amazing production. And if it hadn't been so successful, I wouldn't be sitting here again. I really want to do it again. I'm talking to the Fringe on Wednesday about the potential, and it's just up in the air at the moment, of whether we can take it to Wellington next time as well, because that was one of the things that all the cast said to me at the end of this was, can we keep doing this? and it's easier to say let's than to actually do it, because when you start touring a production, it's a completely different thing. But my idea for this year is A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Right. Okay.
And it's going to be completely different, and it's looking at it in terms of, I don't know how much, well, you guys know A Midsummer Night's Dream, but actually the prologue of it is that Theseus has defeated the Amazonian women and taken Hippolyta as his bride. So the whole thing for me, I actually played Hippolyta and Titania for a year on an international tour all over the world. And my take on the play is that it's all about Hippolyta and Titania and her coming to terms with the fact that she's just been captured by Theseus.
We'll pause you there, Shona. the synopsis is wonderful, but we have to get to your application. Questions for Shona? Yes, Councillor, where you go?
Thanks, Shona. I only heard just brilliant stuff last time. Anyway, the Scout Hall.
Yes.
So where's the Scout Hall?
The Scout Hall is in Campbell Park. So we use that for all the rehearsals and as our green room. And that was a separate thing to the Memorial Hall. So the cost, there was the Memorial Hall cost because we hired that basically so we had a wet weather venue, which luckily or unluckily we had to use on one of the nights. And apparently it was really successful. Everybody really loved the Memorial Hall version, as well as some people saw both, and they thought that they were both equally good in different ways. So that we would do again if we were going to do it.
Okay, so and the Scout Hall, so who is that the Scout?
That's the Scout Club. So, and I've just got $500 from the Paikokariki Community Board, and that is what will go directly to the Scout Hall.
Oh,
That's how that will be covered. Last year, we got $5,000 from the Fringe Festival, which was a one-off funding opportunity, which isn't going to be available this year. So that leaves a big hole in our budget. And I'm going to have to try and work out how to fill that hole. For me, I have to take at least a month off work in order to do this, which obviously has ramifications for me as an arts practitioner. And the last year we used some of the campus state funding to help give some funds to some of the young actors, particularly, well, because it was campus state, who had to take time off work in order to do the production, which wasn't, it was just like they got $200 to help.
Shona, if we can't fund you fully, because we can't fund everybody fully.
I do realise that. I won't do it.
You won't
I can't do it without. I'm not willing to do an under par production that's trying to. We're beyond that. If we don't get the funding, we won't do it.
Okay.
However, I was there. I loved it. You know, I loved it.
Yeah.
It was very good. Nothing to do with me, so no conflict. But I was Queen Titania too, so yeah. But look, it's the same old, same old. You're sick of hearing it. Good on you for taking a stand saying you won't do it. But it's important. Have you actually seriously looked outside of other areas?
Oh, we look everywhere. You know we do, Michelle. Getting money in the arts. You know, I'm meeting with the Fringe on Wednesday to see what other options there are.
Yeah.
If we can take it to Wellington, could we potentially go for the creative communities in Wellington?
Exactly.
But then there'll be additional costs that are involved in that.
I know.
And you also will have seen the budget. There is, putting on a production of this size is over $50,000.
So we know.
What I ask from you guys is the drop in the bucket that enables me to be able to go out and get the rest of the money.
But have you knocked on the other doors that KCDC has, like there's the events, because it is an event, and there are other areas in KCDC that could. Have you ever knocked on other doors?
In terms of the events fund, that could potentially be something that we could go for if, that's probably something that if we can do this year, we could potentially in the next year do it. But they wouldn't have, I don't think they would have given us funding based on, well, they definitely wouldn't have given us funding last time because if we can make it happen this time, and because I think as well there'd have to be over 1,000 audience and then you're looking at like $30,000 of funding, which, that could be the next step, but it's not the step this year. This year is, we'd be looking at trying to do the same thing, showing that we are able to grow on what we did last year.
Okay.
And then perhaps that next step the year after would be to go for bigger money and to even try and do something that involved Palmerston North and Wellington. It's something that could turn into a really beautiful thing.
Other questions for Shona while she's here? No? Okay. Shona, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Yeah. Let's hope it's a Midsummer Night's Dream and not much ado about nothing.
Because I used to present for Radio New Zealand, and I was going to tell that lady that half the presenters from Paikokariki Informed Community Radio now present for Radio New Zealand.
She needs to meet you.
So maybe she should start there. It's a training school.
All right. Okay, sorry, it's a little bit out of sequence because Shona arrived late, but that's fine. Anne White, are you here, Anne? Sorry to keep you waiting, Anne, and sorry to all of you for keeping you waiting. We're trying our best to give everybody a fair hearing.
Well, I'll be quick.
Kapiti Arts and Crafts
Kapiti
Society.
Arts and Crafts Society, I hope the outcome for today is a whole lot better than it was last year. We did get funding for the same thing.
Yep.
And History Burger that didn't get done. The task didn't get done, and we repaid our money. But I'm in charge this year, and it's going to happen.
Oh.
Yes, I've kind of been given the default position of website manager, social media, looking after her, and fundraiser. So we're asking, please, we want to put 2 quarter-page ads in the Kapiti News in November, end of November, beginning of December, or 2 in November, depending on the timing, to advertise our end-of-year exhibition in the gallery, which is an all-comers exhibition for all members of the gallery. We used to call it Cash and Carry, but they don't like that name. So it's we try to get people into Christmas shopping. It's quite a tradition that we have. It's a different exhibition from the other exhibitions that we have throughout the year. And the more people who know about it, the better. We do produce posters, which I haven't got a hard copy of yet. This is, you probably can't see it, but that's the type of poster that we put up around the community. People do letterbox drops. I'm from Waikanae, so I pop a couple up locally as well, and that will probably be the ad, a similar ad to that.
And you have about 50 artists participating, is that right?
Well, we have about 250 members, and
Right.
of those members, some of them are not active.
Yep.
Some of them are incredibly active, but it's one that all our groups, we've got 13 groups of artists and crafters. Every month we have a different exhibition for the different, this month starting Thursday is the Potters. But the December one, we can all have a go. So,
Okay.
and it's quite a popular exhibition. And it's one that I'm relatively new. I've only been a member for 4 years, so I'm still a baby in the society compared to some of them. But I'm trying to up the profile. It's been really sluggish. It hasn't, it's just ticking over. And for some of the older people, I'm one of the young ones, believe it or not, some of the older ones just tick over. They're kind of oblivious to what's happening in the world. They don't know about the retail thing, but so I've come along and I'm trying to up the profile really, and
Questions for Anne.
You
Michelle?
don't. Yes.
Oh,
you,
Jenny.
Yeah.
Where you go?
You don't show any income
In the application, I'm just wondering, do you receive
commission.
Oh,
Artwork sold.
the way the society works, we're an incorporated society.
Yeah.
Anything we've got a shop
Yeah.
in Raumati Road, which is totally autonomous, runs itself. And then we've got the gallery, and we can all sell in the shop and all the gallery. Yes, it's a commission. Commission goes to the members. Sorry,
No.
the commission is taken off the sales for the running of the shop is independent, so it's different. Let's put it here, but all art sales in the gallery, they take a 30% commission. But that's for running costs. And we're also trying to build up a roof fund. We need a new roof in the near future. We own the building, but we pay the KCDC a peppercorn rental for the land because it's on reserve in Matai Road.
So my question is, do you have a portion of that commission going towards promotion?
Probably, most likely,
Right.
yeah. We will, it depends. We haven't got hundreds of dollars to pay for the advertising. We won't do
No.
it.
But generally, you sell quite a lot of work there over that
The
period.
gallery the gallery doesn't support itself. The gallery is, I hesitate to use the word subsidised, but it is subsidised by subscriptions.
Okay, but that is the peak of the year for selling, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christmas, it's usually a pretty successful little exhibition. Yeah. And with retail picking up, we're told it's starting to pick up again. We're hoping that we might have a successful.
And also, social media. I know you're talking to an older generation in the club, but social media is free.
Totally.
Yeah, advertising.
Yes. I'm an admin of the Cavity Arts and Crafts Society Facebook page, so I put it out there, and I'm also do it for myself and my own personal Facebook page. I'll be putting this poster on Wednesday. I'll do that, or Thursday, because the new exhibition starts on Thursday for the next 3 weeks. The Potters, but we can't afford to advertise every individual exhibition like that.
Okay. Any other questions for Anne? Michelle?
Just you kind of answered it. I do know that shop in Raumati Road really well, and I have patronised it for its gifts. There's some amazing bits and pieces there, but I will say, and I've lived here 30 plus years, that I was not aware how that your gallery is like the shop. Call me ignorant or what?
No, it's a lack of publicity.
Thank you. That's what I was about to say. So they need you. You're a pocket rocket. Fantastic. And I mean, is there a way to seriously change the whole image? Have someone do a really fantastic painting. Ask the council if you can put it on the land. And I would drive past and go, oh, there's a gallery there. I wasn't aware. I always thought it was just a schoolroom.
I get this all the time.
Yeah.
I have also applied twice for funding for lovely new signage.
Well, make it
Beautiful new
yourselves.
signage.
Do it
but-
yourselves. You're the artists.
Well, yeah, that's what we're going to do because I've been turned down twice.
Go to the
now.
men's shed, get the men to
No,
build
they don't want to know.
Aw.
They're my next door neighbours in Waikanae and they're not interested. But we just in the last 10 days, I've been given the name of somebody to go
Great.
to who will probably revamp the existing site. It might cost $1,000, but we can
I think it's worth it.
find it. But
And if we can't fully fund
We're
you,
off the
will you'll go ahead with the sale, won't you?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We're
okay.
I'm not asking to fund the exhibition, just the advertising.
Just the
for
advertising.
it.
No, I understand.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's an annual thing. It's been going for
Yes.
years.
All right.
Mm.
Any further questions for Anne?
It's good
Thank
for the community as well,
yes.
so they know about it.
Yes, it
yeah,
is.
and it's not just for us.
Yep. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Bye for now. Right. Dennis Woods, the Shed Project. Are you here, Dennis? Okay.
Stand, I have mine.
Do you need some more chairs, guys? Because we can do that.
We'll be fine. Is that
You
okay?
say?
We'll be fine. Kia ora, and first off, I'd like to thank you for the latest grant that you gave us for the Wizard of Oz, which was an extreme success with 3 sellout shows. The video's coming out tomorrow, so you can watch the whole thing if you want to. So we really appreciate that. And this year we're looking for our Christmas show. Because of the success of our creative spaces, this year we're running our Christmas show at Te Okora Ki Kapiti. So it's a big step up for us. We're sort of getting into a bit more of a professional role. The show will be a static display of our artworks, dance, the Light Up Little Theatre. We'll do a drama performance of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So that's a little bit of briefing. So I'd just like to introduce Bill and
Hello.
Now these guys are both from our performing music group, Sound Minds, who Bill writes the lyrics from his experiences of life, and the other guys are the members of the band write the music to that. They're currently trying to put together a CD, which is partway through the way. So I'd just like Bill and Mark to tell you a little bit about the value of what our creative space and the Sound Minds band has improved their lives.
Great, thank you.
Okay. In way of introduction, hi, my name is Mark Woodward. I have 2 brothers. I live in Kapiti Welcome Trust, where I'm supported by loving caregivers. What music means to me, music helps me to join in. It gives a sense of belonging, a sense of achievement, and brings everybody together. For example, the end of year production where friends and family had an opportunity to meet last year. Music is a healing process. It builds self-esteem and gets us out of our comfort zones. It is very helpful to bring structure to my week or our week, and music helps me personally to express myself and helps me to let go of the past and move gently to the future. Music is relevant and we are unique as a group. We respect each other and each other's health needs because we've all got health issues like that. Music builds love through common interests, through the band and through caring people, the environment we're practicing, which is the Sheep Project. In conclusion, I hope that as a group, our band will overcome the odds and move gracefully into what life has in store for us. Bye for now, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bill is a prolific poet, as I sort of said. So rather than you read your poetry, Bill, would you mind if I just leave some here for you to read? It's a piece that he's written. It's All Right, Jack. So if I wouldn't mind just leaving it for you to have a read at your leisure.
I actually wrote it last night when you told me about this.
Oh, great.
You wrote it last night?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
How long
So
is
we've
the?
got
How long is
something
it, Dennis?
for today, eh?
How long is the work?
It's not particularly long.
4 stanzas.
4 stanzas. We could stand 4 stanzas.
Can you stand?
Where you go?
You better stand over here, Bill, if you're reading it, mate. Sorry?
That's what we thought too, Dennis.
There you go, Bill.
Move the mic.
I'm unafraid to take the mic. Okay, but my reading is terrible, so persevere with me, please. It's called All Right, Jack. Just like you, I look at me. I see the things making me be. Singing this as if indifferently, ignorant bliss to this ability. Stability is a risk we take to make all this a piece of cake. At least the present rat, the way we're all trapped by how now you portray. Set in stone my own regrets. It is just a case of self-neglect. Rewrite a right, a bone to pick. I'm not as quick, but I'm not thick. Thanks, mate. Well, this is the chorus again. Can you stand that? We take to make all this a piece of cake, at least the present rat, the way we're all trapped by how now you portray. More for less is known, I guess. Business is at your request. Yes, that is perhaps the fact that's a time to relax. Be all right, Jack.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Questions for Dennis?
Sorry?
Questions? Well, we're going to ask you questions, Dennis, or I hope we are. Would anybody like to ask Dennis a question?
Yeah, Dennis, what's the because the ticket price last time was low, which is great. And what's sorry, I should know this off. Yeah, so $17 is the ticket sales, right?
Yeah, we're probably going to increase it to 20 on this one.
All right.
Based on the success of the Wizard of Oz, we've sold over 200 seats and just totally filled out 3 houses.
Yeah.
We've just been discussing this morning that we might put in a $10 matinee on the same day.
Brilliant, yeah.
Just to sort of, raise a little bit more towards it.
Yeah. And can I just say, Dennis, this isn't just for you guys. This is an enormous value to the community, actually, what you guys are doing. So it's fantastic. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have a number of creative programs going. Light Up Little Theatre, which is an inclusive theatre, which is what Jack and Emma, they're from the Wizard of Oz. There's about 14 in that. We have a number of potters, artists, drama, music groups with Weed Arts. We've worked in with Weed Arts. So that's what the end of the year show is. It's about a collaboration of all the creativity that we do at the Shed Project and the Shed Creative Space.
Mm. It's a coming together of all your year's work, isn't it? Yeah. And you've shifted up a venue. I see you've estimated 200, and it's about 324-seater, isn't it? The Te Raukura.
Yeah, I think I was very susceptible about, and when I was down there the other week, I said to Sonia, we're never going to fill this place.
You never know.
But looking at it now and the success of the Wizard of Oz, I think it will
You
be
never know. Yeah.
quite easy to do. Yeah.
If we can't go all the way with your application funding, Dennis, will the show still happen?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
It just means our workshop has to work a bit harder and raise some more money of our own.
Yeah, that's a gutsy spirit. Dennis, thank you for all the hard work you do, and thank you all for coming in.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
We just have a little question.
Oh, sorry,
So
Michelle.
That's okay. You're on the arts trail, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I often go there because I think the work you guys do is wonderful and you're creative. You
Okay.
just said that you're going to be putting it perhaps on display for your Christmas show in the foyer.
Yeah,
Te
yeah.
Rakura?
We'll do a static display of pottery and...
You're going to sell it?
We will do.
Excellent. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
As your first customer. Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
All right, bye for now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you all.
Kirsty Doyle, are you here?
Yes.
Come on up. The Kite Festival.
No, that's wrong. 16.
Right, well, we have your application, so we've read all that. But if there's anything you wish to add, Kirsty, and then we'll ask you some questions, if that's okay.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's
Yep.
to put on some kite, essentially give Otaki students the opportunity to do some kite workshops at no cost to the schools.
Schools first, then the public.
Schools first, and then something over the weekend of the kite festival, probably down at the surf club. We did do that a few years ago, where it didn't actually work as well in the weekend. It's possibly might be something better in the evening, but it really just depends on the availability of the artists and whoever we get that.
So they make the kites and then they get a chance to fly them at the
And
festival.
certainly the school. I mean, the kids have a good time, but it's varied because they're sort of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 students. But the adult workshops are often artists themselves that want to come along.
Yeah, the Kite Festival itself, does that qualify as a major event?
Yes, it does.
With the council? It
Yeah.
does. Great. Fantastic.
Yeah, we've
Questions
had
for
council funding for major events for quite some years.
Anybody wish to ask Kirsty?
Oh, for some reason my red light's up. I thought I turned it off. Sorry. 200 kits.
Yes.
At $8.50 each. That's amazing. What's in them?
Everything that you need to make a kite. So your
Rope, string,
rope, string,
paper.
the spar, whatever you call them. I don't know
I
the
don't
exact
know. I
word.
know it.
They've got a tail and things. So essentially, just the schools provide whatever medium they want to do, whether it's paint or crayons, depending on sort of the year level. And then they put them together, and then they usually go out in the field and fly them. So it's a series of workshops throughout the day, and then they have a mass fly. That's what we've done in previous
Do you
years.
ever kind of put it out to the community? I'm a bit of a closet I love my magazines, so I've got a lot of stuff that I always say should go to artists to cut up and stuff. But, I'm often looking where to give them. But do you ever go to the community and say, we need some materials to help our kits?
The artist usually brings the stuff already, just to make it a lot
That says
easier,
it.
so that it's more uniform, because they could potentially be in a room with
A
30
mess.
students. Yeah, it's kind of chaotic, but great, but chaotic.
Got it. Thank you.
Well, I live in Otaki, and I can tell you that it's only on the Kite Festival that it's windy up there.
It's wonderful.
It's never windy at other times of the year.
Yes.
Should you wish to know this important information.
Always sunny.
It's always sunny.
Always sunny, even when it's not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Other questions for Kirsty? Anybody?
I was just going to say,
Jenny.
I go every year,
Yeah.
and I really enjoy the festival. And you bring heaps of people to the
You do.
town.
We sure do.
Masses
It
and
gets
masses.
bigger and bigger
Yeah.
every year.
So
Makes
it's
my
like-
eye twitch just thinking about it.
And started by a visual artist in
Yes,
Otaki.
That's
Absolutely.
right. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments, Nigel?
Yeah, just a quick comment. It's
I went last year, me and 8 million other people, I think, all on the same day. Just a suggestion, very quickly, if you go and talking to the organisers, that they might want to try organising buses from a point further downtown, just because the traffic is crazy. So if they had a bus shuttle just going back and forward, back and forward.
We have done that in previous years,
yeah.
And we've also had trains and things as well.
Yeah.
Very poorly utilised. People just do not get out of their car. We spent thousands of dollars on buses and shuttles, regular shuttles, park and ride, all sorts of things. People love their cars.
Yeah.
They just see the kites from the cars.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
But it's a good idea. It would be great if we could, yeah.
Kirsty, if we can't go all the way with funding, would you still go ahead with this kite making proposition?
Probably, but it would be up to the schools to fund it.
Yeah.
And I think they probably would. I think we'd probably get interest. We'd go out and see.
Okay.
It's really just so that there's no. I mean, schools are usually pretty good, but they're pretty tight with money.
Yep.
So when I mean tight, they don't have a lot of money. So this would just give them probably. I mean, we would probably do more if we get some funding. We would be able to offer some opportunities for free as well, and actually pay the flyers for the kits ourselves.
Okay. Do you have a question, Councillor?
Yes, I see that Parapara is becoming a kite flying mecca in the weekends, and even during the week we're getting lots of them, groupings of 10 or 15 at a time down there. It's absolutely amazing. I'm assuming the carnage with the kids is little triangle kites.
Yes.
The adult ones, are they essentially the professionally looking ones like jellyfish and
Absolutely.
whales and...
Yeah, whoever the artist would be would it would be according to the audience.
Great. It's wonderful. It's
Very
wonderful
good.
seeing the kites. Yes.
So yeah, just to follow on from what Chairman Grant just said, is if you didn't get the funding, I don't know what I'm talking about here, but I'm just making an open suggestion. Do you go to someone like Rotary? Like to go, well, we need some more here. Will you come in with us? Because I know Rotary do kind of get in behind educational projects, from what I can see. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've heard it. Or Lions. No, we don't. We don't sort of tend to, mainly because the majority of the committee are volunteers, and so. I was talking about your shortfall. If there is a shortfall. Oh, the shortfall. I'm only talking about the shortfall. Oh, the shortfall. I would imagine it would be made up by. I mean, if we asked every school to put in $2 for a child, we would probably ask the schools. Right. Yeah.
Any more questions for Kirsty? Right. Thank you.
Okay.
No.
Cool.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right. Now we don't have many more to go because Bryony Rogers and Rebecca Bond, which between them make up 3 applications, can't make it today. So we're going to finish a bit earlier than that. But next is Amanda Kemp. Are you here, Amanda? From the Kapiti Music Centre.
So yeah, thank you for this opportunity to talk on behalf of the Kapiti Music Centre. So I'm here to talk about the open day that's happening on the 23rd of November at Te Raukura. So this is our 4th year of hosting an open day for our students to be able to perform and for the community to come in and see their performance. And so yeah, just a quick rundown of the KMC. We're the charitable trust. So we currently have over 16 different instruments on offer and 8 tutors and roughly about 200 students at the moment. So ranging in age from 5 through to adults, and the lessons start at about $8 per lesson. So the way it works on the day is there's a schedule for the tutors. They get like a half-hour slot to put on a concert or showcase their instruments. This is for the parents and for the community to come in and have a look. It's also really good for our existing students that might want to switch instruments for next year. And this year, at the end of the day, this is the first time we're going to do this, we are going to gather all our more senior students to put together some orchestral pieces. And I'm envisioning for the audience to sing along to these songs. So we'll be handing out the lyric sheets. So there'll be hopefully some audience participation. And as much as our students grizzle at the thought of getting on stage and performing, they always come off with amazing confidence And as one of the groups said, you know, out of their comfort zone. They don't like it, but it boosts their confidence. And for us as tutors too, we've been mentoring them for the last year to get them up to that speed where they can feel confident enough for getting on stage and performing. So it's a free event. We do suggested koha at the door. There'll be Board of Trustees members there throughout the day, so if people come in, they want to ask questions, they'll be floating around. Te Arakura, they're so supportive of us. That's where we actually have our lessons. They'll be advertising in the foyer, in their big billboards, electronic billboards, plus the one that they have out on the street. Facebook, Instagram, we'll be doing the same. But yeah, we feel it's incredibly important to let the community know of these affordable lessons. We all know it's pretty tight out there for families at the moment. And it's slightly concerning hearing the government's recent cuts to the arts in the schools. Yeah. And to quote Dame Gayleen Preston in a recent article last week, she said, "A healthy community is a creative community." So I'm just incredibly proud that our council, the Kapiti Council, is an arts-based community, and just allowing the KMC to put on these open days to let the public know that we're there and these lessons are there and affordable for the community. So yeah, thank you.
Well, I'll start.
Sorry, yes, where you go, Nigel.
Yeah, fantastic. Because it's a bit of a broken record for me, and I know Te Arakura are supportive. That's great, but it's still $1,000. There's still $1,000 cost, and I kind of have some issues around that. But it's a debate for another time because that's a fixed cost for you. But do you think there would be any resistance to a charge, even if it was a relatively small? No. For
the
entry.
Right.
So, like, if it was $10 or like a relatively nominal sum, but if the numbers are high enough, it adds up to a significant amount. I was just wondering if what the philosophy was behind it being entirely free.
Yeah, I think because you know, a lot of the parents want to just come and see their own child, and it is like each tutor has that 30-minute slot. I'm wondering if people might think, ooh, I don't want to pay just to go and see my kid for 30 minutes. But yeah, we certainly have done it in the past, and $10 wouldn't seem out of the question actually to charge. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, as I say, we do suggested koha. The previous year koha wasn't that great, but yeah, maybe if we emphasise that a little bit more. But yeah, I like that idea of a gold coin. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I mean, you are really our music school, aren't you? Yes. In a way, for the district, and you certainly breathe life into the Performing Arts Centre at Kapiti College. I'm sure that when Tony laid it out, he made a lot of those rooms with you in mind.
Absolutely,
Fantastic. 16 different forms of music tuition. It's marvellous.
Yeah.
Any further questions for this applicant? All right, well, thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you.
While we're on the subject of music, the Orpheus Choir. Nigel, are you here?
Hello, yes I am. Can
Oh,
you hear me?
you're on the screen. Somewhere?
Somewhere.
We can hear you. You can hear us okay?
I can, and I can also see you. Well, 4 of you anyway.
And you want to bring the Orpheus Choir to Kapiti?
I would, very much.
So we have your application. Is there anything particularly you'd like to add? And then we'll ask you some questions.
Well, just to restate the obvious, we would very much like to come to Kapiti. We have been to the venue a couple of years ago, 2020 and 2021. It's a good venue for us. It allows us, which is with a large choir, so we need quite a lot of space and quite a lot of facilities. So we're very keen to come back to the venue itself and share our music making with the Cavity Legion.
The Performing Arts Centre, Te Raukura, has a fly tower. Is that okay for you guys in terms of acoustics in the venue?
Yes, it's worked for us before. Like a lot of venues, we have to choose our repertoire quite carefully to meet the venue's specifications and sometimes limitations. But there's plenty we can do there, and certainly the two concerts we put on at the about 4 or 5 years ago were magnificent events acoustically.
Good. Questions for Nigel? Anybody? Everybody happy? Where do you go, Nigel?
Just a quick question, Nigel Wilson here. The choir itself, are you aware of the Kapiti Coast members of the choir?
Yes, certainly. But certainly not the largest component because we are a Wellington-based choir in theory. But we've got members in Kapiti. We have members in the Wairarapa, throughout the Hutt Valley, Pololua as well. And we very happy to have members from anywhere, and certainly there are a good number from the Kapiti Legion.
Great, thanks.
I see you're doing the Hallelujah chorus. I've always wanted to do that as karaoke because there's only one word, Wouldn't that be fun? But anyway, it's quite a modest ask, $1,000, Nigel. So you're showing good cost recovery in your application?
Well, I think so. And the purpose of us coming to Kapiti and the following day, hopefully, to go to Carterton, is to share our music making with with a wider audience. These concerts are primarily about sharing our love of music and the love of choral music. And there'll be events later on in the year. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I don't want these events to be making a significant loss.
Yeah.
But there are events elsewhere in the year that will help us as an organisation with our core operational costs. This particular concert we costed out at the moment on the basis of our previous experience at the venue, and this time we've tried to lower our ticket prices because I think times are hard, and we always try and keep our ticket prices as low as we can anyway. It's a lot of swings and roundabouts. Whatever we budget on ticket sales, it'll come out to something differently, and whatever I budget on third-party income, such as this grant application, it will undoubtedly come out different to what I expect. And so we're juggling a small number of variables, and we think that this is about the right kind of level for this concert, and we're doing something very similar the next day in Carterton. And as I say, that this isn't about a big financial win for us, although I'm always keen on some financial wins, but to actually share the music and go back to a venue that we've enjoyed.
If we can't fully fund you, Nigel, will the concert still proceed?
I think so. Putting it bluntly, you're the first application I've made for this concert, and I've got several months of doing that. Yours is first because of your closing deadline. But if you don't give me some money, then I'll go to other people.
Right. Right.
And we've got a few months before the concert. I think we're committed to the 2025 repertoire now. Having said that, I'd love to see the Kapiti District Council supporting this event, and I think please do.
Michelle, you have a question.
Hi there, Nigel. Michelle Scullion speaking. Congratulations on your program. It looks amazing. I've just got two quick questions. One is, who's your musical director or your conductor? Do you have such a human being?
Yes, We do, very much. Flint Stewart is our music director and will be conducting on the day.
Yep. The other question I have, which is a little bit me being a bit cheeky, so you've got a bunch of Kapiti members. Just as a little bit of a promotion, would you consider have the Kapiti members only just coming and turning up in the coastlands and doing a little bit of a mini performance as a promotional tool? Is there such a thing that you'd ever considered?
To be quite honest, Michelle, I'm always open to anything that's going to.
I'd come and watch.
Yeah,
Two people singing the Hallelujah chorus.
Absolutely, I've done it as one.
Do people still stand for the Hallelujah chorus, Nigel, or is that sort of gone?
To be honest, our last few productions or last involvements in Wellington, they have tended to stand.
Yeah.
Which I think is, in some ways, very nice.
Yes,
I'm not quite sure what I think about it on a deeper philosophical level, but certainly I think it's a nice tradition.
I agree. Any more questions for Nigel? No? Jenny?
Yep, sorry. The difference between the price tickets there, the 250 at 25 and the 100 at 15, is that a gold card or is student? Is it? Okay.
I think the lower price would be children's students. Probably gold card as well, but I'm not committing to that just at the moment. We've, from memory, we've roughly budgeted 100 of those tickets, so it probably would include gold card. Simply because I don't think we're going to sell 100 tickets to children and students. But it's in the lap of the gods at the moment, unfortunately. I can't quite be certain of that.
Okay, thank you.
All good. All right. I think that's us. One more. Well, Rob, where you go?
Thanks, Nigel. Nigel, do you have an accompanying orchestra with you? I believe you have played with the Kapiti Concert Orchestra. Do you have an orchestra accompanying you?
Hi, Rob. No, for this particular event, in partly an effort to keep things simple and partly an effort to keep things financially simple as well, we are working with a piano accompanist and a harp player and I think a percussion player. So it's going to be some orchestral colour, but not an orchestra itself.
That sounds pretty good. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we're good, Nigel. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Bye for now.
Bye now.
Now, we have a cancellation. Ms. Rebecca Bond, who actually put in 2 applications, and you may recall these are the ones that I declared an interest and stepped out, but she is no longer able to join us. So we can carry on. We have an additional one though, which is Kieran Mells, pardon me, from the name of the application, I can tell you, is Exploring Art and Nature Through Creative Writing. So Karen, you're with us and you want to come forward? Karen and Kirsten, right. Can I just ask the other person there? Oh, right. Is that Sophie? Yeah. Welcome, Sophie. How are you? You come a bit closer if you want to hear better. You're very welcome. You probably know the room. Yeah. Kirsten and Kieran, where you go. So there's a chance to give us any additional information from the application and we get to ask you some questions.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Kirsten Laharavelt. I'm the Director of Writers Practice, which is an arts organisation based in Kapiti and runs the annual Kapiti Writers Retreat and other creative writing opportunities in the region. And I'm also a writer and published poet. And along with Karen Mells, who's a journalist, life coach, and local primary school teacher, we want to offer a 2-day creative writing course for school children between the ages of 8 and 13 in the next school holidays. We're offering this in partnership with Toimahara, and the inspiration from it came out of our recent work on the Nanarara exhibition, which was on at Toimahara. And so Karen and I worked with school children from Kapakapanui School in year 5 and 6 to create poetry that was inspired by their trip to Ngā Manu. And we created some artwork with them which Kieran has got here, that that showcased their art and their poetry, and was also screened as part of the exhibition. The kids really loved the opportunity to be involved in art, to kind of be part of the Toimahara and to learn new skills. And we believe that there's a lot of scope to offer this to a wider range of young people who are living in the region, and there isn't anything like this currently in Waikanae. We've got connections with Te Atiawa and with Whakarongotai through, and the iwi lead that's part of Ground Truth, which is one of the exhibitions which is just launched at Toimahara, is interested in supporting us and providing some information to the kids if they're interested in responding to those artworks. And there's also some other really awesome exhibitions on in the holidays which will help with building kids' connection to heritage, to learning about ancestors and local tupuna of the region, like the Ira Wahine exhibition, which is portraits by Hariata Ropata Tangahoi. And then there's a Flowers and Faces and Flowers exhibition, which is actually ekphraxis in action. So it's poetry and paintings, and these two artists are responding to each other. So it's demonstrating to the children that what they can do, and then the power of art and different kinds of art to respond to one another. Our shared backgrounds in writing, teaching, publishing, organising, and our community connections, I think, will make this a really successful opportunity. We see this as a pilot, so if it works well, we want to expand it as a regular offering in 2025, which could be in the school holidays, or it could be something that we could look at as an after-school program. And lastly, we want to make sure that part of the accessibility that's really important to both of us is that we're going to work with Te Atiawa and others to offer free or subsidised places so that as many people as possible can be involved.
How do you recruit the children? How do you find the ones you want?
Well, it'll be open to anybody. So, and because we're involved in the local schools, we'll promote it through the schools, we'll promote it through our own personal connections, advertise it at the library and other places where parents are. And there's quite a lot of demand for school holiday programs, as any of you that are parents know. And the Toimahara school holiday programs that they do offer, which are in the visual arts space, are really popular. So I think there's easily going to be a demand for that, and these will sit alongside that as an additional offering.
These cards you've sent around here,
Mm-hmm.
am I looking at the work of that age group of children?
Yes, they're year 5 and 6 students.
Which is aged?
10 and 11, 9
Yeah,
and 10.
9 and 10.
Well,
Yeah.
quite extraordinary.
And and they all each got one of those cards, with their own,
Yes.
art and poetry, which is what we're planning
Yes.
to do.
Yeah.
Now, questions for Karen and Kirsten? Kirsten. Karen and Kirsten. Anybody wish to ask this applicant a question?
My question was similar to that about the 24 kids. How do you find them? For me, it's always with these things. It's a bit of a concern if it's just the first 24 whose parents have got the money, but there might be some other kids who have got who would really benefit from this. So, do you have an option for some of those kids who might not otherwise be able to participate?
Well, we've already agreed we're going to work with Te Atiawa, particularly because of its proximity to the art gallery, and offer them some free places, so they will definitely be bringing people. And then we'll shoulder tap people that we know that we think could benefit. Kieran runs the writing enrichment class at Kapakanoi School, so there's a whole lot of children in that class.
70 kids that do that.
Yeah. So I think there will be a bigger demand, and within that class, Kieran will be really familiar with who might want to come and might not be able to afford it, and who we can ask to pay. So we're definitely interested in making it accessible.
Capacity issues. So 24 is 80%. So say you got 30 kids, and if you had 40 wanted to be there, so is 30's capacity? Is it?
Well, because the
In
physical
Mahara?
space of
Yeah.
Mahara is very small,
Mm.
and we're offering them one after the other. So the younger ones will be in one group, and then the next will be in the next group. But yeah, we really are very limited by the space, unfortunately. And yeah. and small children in the art gallery. We want to keep one as
that's
a
right, yeah.
contained
You
space.
know, good luck with that. Herding cats.
Now, Michelle.
Yes, hi, congratulations. These blow me out actually. They're really good. Looking at your application, what I'm not seeing, I might be blind, is who's your art coach or tutor or whatever?
So those were done by the children.
Yeah,
but there was a different project. So the project that we're looking at is
This is
they're
words.
actually going to
This is
respond to
words.
art in the gallery, and the gallery is going to get permission from those artists to use that art on
Yeah.
one side.
So
of
the
page.
artist is not here, that's done,
Yeah.
this is words. So just being personal now, or whatever, I mean, these are great. And how much, do you just sort of teach them about writing and then let them go, or do you help edit?
We edit, yeah.
How much? Because they're bloody good.
Oh, they're good. No, it wasn't huge, was it?
I'm not saying that kids,
10 minutes
I'm not
per-
saying kids don't know how to
Yeah.
write, because
Well,
kids do.
All of the children that did those are already in the writing enrichment group.
So they're there.
So they've done a bit of poetry this year.
Well
anyway.
done.
But yeah, they are. They're really good. We were really pleased with
Blown
them.
out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, they were really skilled.
Do you think our kids are in trouble in terms of literacy levels? Is that a concern? Should we be worried? You answer that. No, you answer that.
I think it's not just a. It's. I mean, basically, I think that children don't get the same access to print that they did.
Yes,
in
it's screens.
previous
Yeah.
years. And often times their parents are looking at their phones and they're looking at their phones, and it's
Yes.
just a different. It's hard for them to get access to the same experiences that maybe we had when we were younger.
Yeah. If we can't go all the way, if we can't fund you fully, because we don't have enough money to fund everybody fully, will you still be able to go ahead with this project?
We're willing to donate our time to do it, but we will try and find some funding to pay for the printing and the other resources that we will
Right,
need. This is the first application we've put in, and we'll think about other options when we went at that bridge.
I think if your pilot goes well, I think you'll be amazed at the response. I think it has a future, strong future. Any other questions or comments for these applicants? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
We won't go that.
Now, as I said earlier, Rebecca Bond has apologised and can't attend for her 2 applications. We've also had a late apology from Bryony Rogers, whom we were also due to hear. So I think based on that, we're done. We're only 40 minutes late.
The one that I really love, maybe that's Bryony, I don't know, but the Canbeed Kapiti Coast. There's no one here today. Is that still part of this process? Number 2 on this.
Yes, they were in it.
00884. So what do we do about people who haven't shown up?
Still eligible.
Yeah, they're still
They
eligible.
don't have to come to speak to it. Yeah. You just have to remember how good they were rather than, from what you've read, rather than.
And so basically the proceedings are that once we see the scoring, that there will be some obvious in, some obvious outs. And then if we do feel passionately about something, we're allowed to speak on their behalf.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you.
So according to my run sheet, I'm now to invite Narita to mention her report. Is that right? Do you want to have a break first? Good idea. Comfort
Do you want
stop,
to
and then we'll
okay.
go make it to Narita, and then we'll close for lunch.
Stop. Yes.
All right.
Very good. Yes.
Mm.